Hello everyone, Edain here and welcome back to reading about the Edain Mod, patch 4.8.2, where today we already talked about last time about all the major changes that came to the Edain Mod, but we haven't gone over the changelog, the complete changelog and bug fixes, which I will be going over today. Well, before we do, just want to quickly go over all these again, just so anyone that hasn't seen the previous video knows what they're in for. So Iron Hill's got a full model rework. Some of them, the Ered Lewin dwarves, also got a rework in their models, and they are beautiful, beautiful models. Then we got the 2D upgrades for the portraits. You can see some of them are more detailed, and also powers have been slightly updated. Then some tooltips, mainly for hero abilities, are updated to have a bit more. Basically, just talk about what they actually are all about, and then the actual mechanic of the ability. So, for example, Boromir, his veterans of Osgiliath, talk about why they're veterans of Osgiliath, and then about the Horn of Gondor as well. And then there's also the main talking point for patch 4.8.2, the Pony Camp upgrade. Really love it. Makes it worth getting. And I wish I showed it off more in my last video. I will be doing more dwarves in the future, so don't worry, you'll get to see that. Then there's the hobbits for Imladris, which also comes with the Dunedain upgrade with Halbarad, getting a few tweaks where you can now summon little tents near any settlement, not as hobbit farms, any settlement, which can then summon more Dunedain. So you can get a bit more spam going on as the elite faction, which is kind of cool. Gives it more to work with. Now, here we are with the complete changelog. So starting off with the general things. So a lot of this I've already just gone over. So tooltips for hero abilities and spellbook abilities reworked for standard format. Many of the decals showing the radius of leaderships, e.g. for wells and statues, are visually updated. I actually showed that off slightly in my dwarf video, only for like a second when I was hovering over the hearth. But yeah, it is more clear now. It's not like kind of fuzzy and stuck to the floor. I can actually see it now. It's very clear, very bright, so you know exactly the aura of the effect. Again, mainly for wells and statues. Creep Mumax added to the game file, so that means that Mumakil will exist as a monster, which kind of already happened with Age of the Ring a few years back on certain maps. So think of like Harad maps are going to have Mumakil now, perhaps, as just a wandering creep that you kill it, it gives you gold. That's how it was for Age of the Ring. I'm assuming that's what they've done for Edain. I doubt they've actually made an actual creep lair for a Mumakil. That would be ridiculous. Anyway, Haradrim lair in the files fixed for mappers. That's mainly from the again, the Harad map, the Easter egg where you kill the Haradrim, you get to then make Haradrim. It's not actually saying that they're making a Harad faction. That's Edain Unchained. Half bases added to the game files, an alternative starting flag that can be placed against other things. But again, that's kind of like for world builders, not for people like me. Creep layers now appear in the Fog of War at the start of game, like they briefly did for the free build game mode in 4.8. Okay, that's good to know. The Hidden Ones industry buff now affects hero recruitment revive times. Good for when I'm preparing videos for certain things. Can now summon free build builders, which means you can make settlements, not just the old building builders. So that has some implications. Again, mainly for when I'm doing prep for videos like ranking videos. Lots of new spellbook images, which we showed off. Some of them already. Lots of new hero portraits, sorting of objects in the world builder cleaned up. New flyer death VFX and sound. So Nazgul flying down is no longer going to do a weird crashing, I think, maybe. Same with the Eagles, that'll be interesting to see. Then a bunch of free build things, which I am going to go over very, 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 very quickly. Factory no longer give discounts. Statue build time increased. Button order of buildings in the builder palantir has been reordered and standardized across the board, so it makes it all more clear for anyone that does do free build, not me. Building now points south or southish by default. Okay. Builder health doubled. Yep. Okay. Intact Bastion passive added to free build fortress. Applying all buildings in medium range. So that just means they get more armor. Economy building health reduced. Economy building chain radius reduced. Oh, increased even. So you're going to get less income for more things that are colliding with it. Now, Misty Mountains. The Wild Pack acceleration and turn speed reduced. Okay, so they're going to act more like Wild Riders instead of... Okay, that might be interesting to see. Goblin Town scaffolding can either be destroyed manually in case, you know, you lose the main building but not the scaffolding. Just stops from little weird bugs from happening, exploits and such. The Fisher can now level up and gains abilities at every level. We already showed that off in the last video, which, if those that don't know, at level 2, at level 1, you can summon a creep player next to it, which the main purpose is to then destroy it to give the Fisher some experience. Its second ability at level 2 is a passive map-wide, where all monsters gain more leadership. At level 3, it gets basically a Mighty Catapult. Giants are now affected by Eternal Strife, which again we showed off in a short. I was meant to show it off in the main video back last week, but I completely forgot. But for those that don't know, didn't watch the short or don't know, Goblin, when you go for Moria, Eternal Strife. Well, actually, no, let me talk about Eternal Strife first. So, Eternal Strife, for those that don't know, is you choose Moria, Goblin Town, or Gundabad, which you choose one of the main buildings. You put the power hoverer over that, and then the Goblin layers can make the basic Goblin units from that faction. But also now Giants, Moria Mountain Giants, have a passive like spikes on them, which poison enemies and damage them if they get attacked. It's similar to the Cardoon Pikeman. Goblin Town has when it's firing its giant rocket things, it fires 3 multiple rocks at the same target, doing way more damage. And Gundabad gives them extra health, which they don't start with. You do have to spend a little time watching them heal up. But that's it. Smile will gain a small speed boost when charging towards a target. Makes sense. Smile damage against flyers reduced. Only 2 other flying entities in the game, really. Nazgul and Eagles, so okay. Oh, and other dragons, I guess. Untamed Legion's trolls, now the same speed as other trolls. Alright. Gondor, the Sonic Axeman, building armor. Debuff improved from 20 to 40% debuff. I might start making them now if they're going to be giving that much of a debuff. Free build signal fire removed from the builder. New spellbook power, erect warning station. Summon a warning station. The warning station provides vision for a short duration and can be upgraded into a signal fire. Can be summoned near warning station or signal fire in a large area. Okay, that is again a free build thing, so I'm not going to pay any real attention to it. Arnor, arrow volley, warning shot size increased and restored flame smoke FX, which is okay. Okay, it makes it clearer when it's actually getting shot down at you instead of just wondering when it's going to happen and then boom, you're dead. Arbitraries, veterans of Arthedain now have banner carriers. Those are the permanent summons. I never get Arbitrary to level 10 and not give him the one ring, so he doesn't have this power. So I can't remember if they're temporary or permanent summons. I'm assuming from the fact they get banner carriers, they're permanent. Belfalas, Lothiriel's banner no longer plays a sound. That might be because of copyright reasons. Fishing boats can now be sold once they're deployed. That means you can just demolish them after they've already been made. But, you know, making more of them in better locations, which I don't bother. I honestly don't feel like playing Belfalas. So that's one thing. And yeah, again, spellbook, signal fire, blah, blah, blah. Verdun can now recast his glorious transformation if he gets knocked down or is garrisoned. Wait. Are you saying if you get the power, the glorious king power, you know, the one where he turns back from having Grima on his shoulder, if he's garrisoned or knocked down, it doesn't work? I'm not testing that, but okay. Pitch throws can now bombard an area. This area can fire over walls. And their damage type has been removed from siege to flame. Oh, my babies have finally been nerfed. And you know what? Good. I actually won a game against 2 other people in a PvP years ago now. Where I just used pitch throwers basically with a bunch of peasants protecting them. Because siege damage is busted. There's a reason they're changing this, and it's good that they've finally done it. Yep. Scalar against structures removed, so they're no longer doing massive damage to buildings. Now cause buildings to take more damage from melee attacks for 10 seconds. Makes sense. You're burning things. It's going to be a little bit more molten, more than likely. Yeomen can now use their ability without stopping. That's the extra range and damage boost, I think. They no longer have to sit still for a second. Okay, that's good. Dwarves have kind of already talked about all of this already, but some of them is new. Iron Hills, new model rework. Erin Lewin, new model rework. Lord Dane, trample radius increase. That's Iron Hills Dane. King Dane, that's Erebor Dane. Charge command banner now is a fixed, a new model for an FX. Okay. I'll show that off eventually one day. Durin will respawn as Lord of Moria Durin if he has previously completed the expedition. Oh, so if you lose Durin, you then get him back again. You don't have to do the whole have him sit next to Dane for like a minute and then send another thing, do the expedition. He just comes back as that Dane. Okay, that's Durin even. That's good. Durin will respawn level 5. He has previously reached that level. Makes sense because that's when he can transform at level 5. Ram Riders no longer need elite equipment to be researched to transform. Oh, I need to play some Iron Hills because that's a big buff. That's 750 resources saved. That's almost the amount to make a Ram Rider unit. And Narin is being reduced in cost back down to 1400. It's about time. Iron Hills got some motherfucking respect, and they're finally getting it. Oh, all they need now is to have the Eremithrin Bastion updated, but I don't see that happening for a long time. Dwarven Realm selection can now be done from starting units. I think I talked about that in the Dwarf video, only very slightly. Ponies spawned from travel camps can now be paired with standard units to go on expeditions. By the way, you will when you get travel camp, you'll get a unit of ponies very early. Like 30 seconds into getting the pony camp, you'll get a set of ponies, and then the rest will be later. It's to make it so it's actually worth getting it early on. But also, you know, it does do completely new things now, which I showed up in the last 2 videos, but I'll talk about now as well. You can mix them with standard units and elite units, but elite units still can go to Khazad-dûm. But the other 3 abilities are for all of them, not just the elites, but for standards as well. You can call the other dwarf nations and get a dwarf unit from both of them. So if you're playing as Eredun, for example, you get Erebor and Iron Hills dwarfs of that same type. So sword, melee infantry, you get melee. Pikemen, you get pikemen. Ranged unit, you get ranged unit. Elite, you get elite. Second one is... and they all come up basic tier, level 1, no upgrade. So if you're going to get the Guardians... don't if you're hoping to get the other upgrades for them as well, because you can't. The second one is going to get a little bit of a power point, but also getting a unit straight up to level 5, which can be really impactful on a heroic unit, not heroic, elite unit like the Archon Guard, because they do massive damage on a big tanks at level 5. But they can also get a level up for a hero. It's the little level up power thing you got from BFMU 1 in Moria. But you also get a unit with their full upgrades. So, for example, with Guardians, you get Forged Blades, Heavy Armor, not Banner Carriers, mind you. Forged Blades, Heavy Armor, and the Sharpened Axes, the Iron, the Death Masks, or the Tower Shields. So the Guardians are the best one to get the full upgrades, in my opinion. And Mithril is now unlocked for all heroes when the first Khazad-dûm veteran unit returns. So you're not going to have to put them into the Forge, because it was a big, just like rigmarole of just trying to get this one upgrade. You no longer have to do that extra step. You actually get a heroic unit. You can use it for being a heroic unit, and also upgrade all of your heroes, have more health. Really, mwah, chef's kiss what they've done to the dwarves. They've made them feel stronger, which they didn't need, but it's good enough that it's not overpowered. It's a good flavour increase that the AI probably won't even use. Lothlorien, Palace Guards are now unlocked by researching Captain of the Watch from the Vault of the King. So instead of getting Forged Blades, and that's it, instead of just getting the Forged Blades from Lothlorien, you just have to get the Captain of the Watch, which is getting the Palace Guards around the Vault of the Kings. You now just have to get that to get the Palace Guards, which, yeah, that's okay. I don't mind that. Capture the Watch is increased in cost, which makes sense if you're going to get heroic units from it now. And the volume of the Singer's chant reduced, which means I can finally make minstrels and not get copyright strikes. Oh, it's going to be good. Same with Enlarges, by the way. I did show that off in my other video. Glorfindel's Starlight will now automatically trigger after 30 seconds instead of expiring. This always got me. Because back before I actually knew it would happen, I just leave it on, letting in the full health regen, but never actually do the full explosion. But now, if you just hold it on for 30 seconds, it will just go boom anyway, which is nice. New voice for the twins in English, which is good because they used to just have the Captain of the West voice lines. Aristor is now recruitable. This allows him to used on outpost and fixed the bug where he did not reappear if supervision was terminated while the Citadel was destroyed. Didn't know that, but again, good to know that it's not going to happen. The Fellowship of the Ring experience requirements lowered. Thank you. Thank you. You know, one of the most annoying things I had to do in a ranking video was getting the Fellowship of the Ring to a high level. Them bitches do not level up. It's ridiculous. But they'll also respawn at level 5 if they previously reached that level. Nice. That's good. That's nice and reliable. New units, the Hobbit Bounders. It's a rather expensive unit that basically acts as a border warden while also acting as a creep destroyer for a faction that has pretty strong creep destroyers already, just at higher cost. But you do get half of their cost back if you sell them back to a Hobbit farm. So it's give and take. They're good, but don't get them in excess. And also the reinforcement from the Shire now summons Father Maggot and some Hobbit Archers. And it's 3 Hobbit Archers, and you do get Grip, Fang, and Wolf. And their existence weakens enemy cavalry. So use it as good protection. It works. It works. Dunedin can now purchase their upgrades globally as long as Halbrand has reached a certain level. He also gets a leadership bonus at highest level, which is where you get fire arrows, I think at level 7. Can now summon Dunedain tents near settlements through the leader of the Dunedain, which is his passive ability, which becomes active at higher levels. Tom Bombadil has been nerfed, but to be fair, it was a necessary nerf. He had massive damage reduction. He was the perfect stop sign. You threw him up there, and nothing was getting through him without excessive force. But now Norris can also get 2 units of Wandering Company from the Citadel once Gildor has been recruited at free build. And Linden Towers cost more, and the build time is increased because you can just get them from a builder, which is ridiculous because it's also a tower on top of being a building that can make units, which for free build is actually good. Angmar had one thing: the Barrow-Wight lair now has a tunnel entrance, which just means you can pop Barrow-Wights in and out of places a lot easier. The slowest unit in the game now has mobility. Well, slightly more anyway. Mordor, Gothmog released the prisoners. Duration is increased. Range is now global. Finally, the power that was useless in nearly every scenario finally has some use. The Black Rider armor buffed against armor, arrows and swordsmen makes sense because they're either on horses or not on horses. Influence of Sauron now grants a large amount of experience rather than a level when used on outpost and free build economy buildings. When used on outpost and free build economy buildings. This avoids wasting part of the value when a building is close to the next level. Oh, that's for free build only. It doesn't say it's for free build. Damage rate taken from arrows by flying ring hunters reduced from 80 to 70%. So yeah, just make the ring hunters slightly better. You know, Dark Marshal and Shadow Lord if they take the still robed form, not the armored form. I always go armored form because it's so much cooler and I love the abilities. Isengard. Warg sentries are now available on the outpost plots. I don't know what that means, but I really want to find out one day. It's probably a free build thing. And also talk about free build. Building taint should no longer hike us. What do you mean building taint? That taken out of context is so rude. Oh, well, not rude, but I wouldn't say it at any point ever if it wasn't just right there in front of me. I think it means getting tainted land should no longer hide the cursors. A new map, the Dune Sea, a 3v4 retexture of Tournament Hills. I'll be looking at that one day. Bug fixes, because we might as well just go through everything. Many strings fixed. Fixed issues with the Citadel of some maps will be instantly destroyed when starting the game. Never had that happen before, but it doesn't happen anymore. Horn powers are now properly affect cavalry again. Didn't know they didn't. Creeps will now always properly exit the building, no longer remaining stacked inside it, which is very good because, like Wyman of Dunland on Fords of Eisen, for like the millionth reason, the millionth time I've played on that map, there's always like just like 2 wandering around and then 20 just hold up in that one little spot, and they'll always just throw their axes at you from the invulnerability dome because you can't hit them in the Lair's circle of influence because you're having to attack the building first. So that is a good change that will properly affect, well, just how the game plays. Units won't die to Lairs as often anymore. Free build gate geometries fixed. Misty Mountain, Eternal Strike can once again target the Gundabad Tunnel. The shortcuts of units in the Goblin Lairs affected by Eternal Strife have been fixed. Free Trolls Horde no longer repairs like Citadel, and the Free Trolls treasure can now be correctly destroyed by enemies. Destroyed? Oh, okay. Gondor, Tower Guard damage versus infantry corrected. Not sure if that meant it was better or worse, but from the time I did the Tower, oh no, it's Tower Guard, not Fountain Guard. I don't know. Free build guys of the White City can be properly recruited when the ring is obtained by Boromir, of course. Arnor, Palantir, Washers summoned on a lone tower are no longer controllable. Okay, I think that's what's his name's ability. Yeah, Araphant. Yeah, the king. The king's dad. Arvedwy's father, who can summon the Palantir guard. So they're no longer controllable. Never noticed. Archer range no longer breaks when upgraded to level 2 with the officer upgrade. I don't know what that means. I hate that I don't know what that means, but I'm glad it doesn't do it anymore. Rohan, the Royal Guard model scaled down slightly. Were they too big? Oh, never noticed. Dwarves can no longer build barracks and siege works on defensive line plots. I showed this off so many times. Oh, I'm so glad they fixed it. Because yes, the dwarves being able to build plots on defense line plots, but shouldn't be allowed to in PvP, is such a big exploit. I watched it happen so many times on replays when I was watching replays, giving advice to someone a couple months back. Travel camps are now correctly affected by Mirren's Defend the Hall ability. That's his invulnerability for the building and movement speed for nearby allies, I think. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've played Mirren and actually cared about that ability. Lothlorien, internal building can now have correct vision range. Either less or more, I don't know. I'm going to hope it's more. Imlogis flying units should now no longer be stuck on the Linden Tower. Okay. Elrond Revive cost adjusted to build cost. I think that's worse. I think that means he costs more to get back now. I'm not sure. I've never killed Elrond off to find out. Dunedain Spearman passive speed boost now correctly affects the entire horde, which is good because it means more damage from the spearmen on the cavalry. And Erisor now properly leaves military buildings. Never noticed that before, but to be fair, never did free build. Angmar, snow trolls can now be properly recruited when the ring is obtained. Okay. Fixed Helagwyn's Ice Wall collision. Yes, because sometimes Helagwyn's Ice Walls would just float in the air and do nothing. You would just being like, what is that giant? Like, that's not a cloud. That's a nice formation. Just bang your head on it. Ah! No, but you wouldn't. You just walk over it. Or under it, technically. Also, Mount Graham properly cost CP again. Never noticed they didn't cost CP. You don't want to know why? Because they suck. The vassal house now properly grants XP upon destruction. I guess it's more of a PvP thing because the AI never makes them. Mordor, Gron can no longer be targeted by abilities that target heroes. Okay. Armor of the Black Riders against chop, orc, and cavalry range damage fixed. Previously took too much damage. Yeah, that sounds about right. Very rare instances of damage, but they can be damaging. And the Vampire Battle Tollingorhoff fix. I hope that just means they do damage now instead of just looking pretty. Isengard, Orthanc Guard armor set corrected. I think they used to have Swordsman armor set when they should have had a Pikeman armor set. So that means they took less damage from pretty much everything because they were just that kind of guy, except for cavalry for some reason. Because not for some reason, it's just cavalry because cavalry. Industry can no longer be cast on the steelworks. Makes sense because that would be stupid. I think I did that once. Orc Scouts no longer sometimes play an idle animation instead of attacking when in combat. Yeah, you know what? If you don't know what that attack ability was, it was basically they would just kind of squat and then come back up with their sword and shield in hand, or sword and bare hand up. That is what their attack animation was for at least 2 years. At least 2 years they've done that animation. I'm glad they fixed it. Fix the outpost citadel orientation. Oh, that's just because of an outpost. Okay, so it might just be more facing south if we're going to go off what was said before. Bruce of Dunland can now be properly trampled. I did actually notice that they didn't get trampled. Good to know they finally fixed it. Maps, Carrock Castle placements fixed. Oh yeah, the old Anduin map. Dead Marshes fixed zoom and weather. Oh yeah. Dead Marshes always had a weird zoom. Yeah. The small 6-player map. Oh no, it could be the. Oh no, there's 2 Dead Marshes map, isn't there? Well, one of them's good again. Lorien Forest Castles now unpack without missing walls. Didn't realise they didn't do that. Horde, Helm's Deep, lightning effect disabled. Yes, because it would break the fucking game. And then finally, fix the bug with the Misty Mountains AI. Sometimes still manage to recruit giants before the 10-minute... Wait. That's a bug? Them making mountain giants, like, right out of the gate, just because it's just made an outpost. That was not intended. Are you serious? And in Freeboard AI now build more barracks sooner. Okay. I'm so confused by so many of these patch changes. And I wish I wasn't. But I'm so confused. But honestly, it's a lot. That's a lot of big, important changes coming. Well, that's already come, actually. I'm sorry. They've already been out for over a week now. In fact, they've been out for a week from the moment I've been recording this video, which is about 8 to 9 o'clock in the evening on a Friday. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed and learned something. Sorry this was not as big of a video as some of the other ones. I just wanted to go over all the patch changes because, yeah, this was a lot. I literally just skimmed through it all, seeing that it was, yeah, this is a lot of talking points. I'm going to be talking about a lot of this, and I talked about all of it. And I'll see you all in the next one, which will be enlarged because I want to be showing off the new stuff for them. If it's good or bad, that'll be up to me to decide. Well, and then for you to decide as well. See ya!